Right then, well, this is my second video, and I'm trying to keep it simple for everybody who's just learning out there how to vape, and wants to explore vaping, help you quit smoking, etc, etc. So today, in my first video, I basically showed you the components of a standard e-cigarette or vaporizer. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a bit more detail of what makes up a tank or Clearomizer or vaporizer or Glassomizer, whatever you want to call them. They've got some weird and wonderful names. The tank I've chosen is just because it was just at hand, is a spare Nautilus X. Very good quality tank, very popular, very well made, by a very well known brand. This particular one is a top filling tank, and I'll just go through what makes up a tank. Now the first thing I'll see here, your reservoir, the glass bit. That's what holds the liquid, and by law, very soon to come in, the TPD compliance, a lot of people might have heard of it, that can't be more than 2 millilitres capacity. Ridiculous. Another damn good reason for voting for BRexit, if you ask me. Not breakfast. BRexit. Definitely not breakfast. So the capacity has to be a maximum of 2 mil from May going forward. But that's only for selling it. If you buy a larger one before then, some of them go up to 5 mil still. It's quite legal for you to carry on using it after 20th of May. So that's basically a glass tank. Now you'll see here on the bottom there's a thread. That's a standard 510 connector, which seems to have become pretty much the standard now for most manufacturers. In fact, all the ones I sell are all a 510 connector. And on the very bottom of that thread is the connector, which just sits on top of the battery to allow, when you press the button, to allow the electricity to fire into the up into the coil. And the coil here, which is the next bit, is one of these. This is a coil. This is an example of a coil. Now please bear in mind that, you know, all coils from different makes, manufacturers, you know, a spare, for example, I think I sell in my shop 10 different types of a spare coils, maybe 9 or 10, and they're all different shapes, sizes. Some are longer, some are shorter, some are fatter, some are thinner, etc, etc. This particular one is fairly standard of how they all work the same way, basically. This particular one, as you can see, again, it's got a thread on the bottom here that screws into the bottom of the tank that I've just shown you, and again another connector which just sits at the bottom of the tank, and that allows the electricity to flow through and start to heat up the metal part of the tank to start producing your vape when you need it. Inside, it's stuffed with cotton, and this cotton, you need to, certainly in this case, and yeah, in the case of all tanks and vaporizers and Clearomizers, etc., the cotton needs to be soaked with your chosen e-liquid. In this case, and certainly some of the higher end tanks, a lot of people prefer to directly drop some liquid onto the cotton to allow it to soak in, and then put it in the tank and then fill up the tank. Other tanks, certainly the more basic Clearomizers, you would simply pour your liquid into the tank and just allow it for a few seconds or a couple of minutes to soak into the cotton before you use it. This particular one has a built-in chimney or exhaust, depending on, again, different people have slightly different terms for them. This one is built in. Other tanks and Clearomizers, it's not built in, it's part of the actual tank itself. And but either way, this is the bit where the the exhaust gases come out, the vapour that you're going to inhale. Also, these coils and indeed the tanks have, as you can just see that there, O-rings on them. These O-rings or seals are generally made of a type of rubber or neoprene, and oops, there you go. Luckily it's made of metal, and these can be broken. The trick is with these tanks, when you're putting them all together, is do not over tighten. So that'll just screw in there now, and the trick is do not over that there. Just nice and snug now. That's enough. Because if you over tighten it, and the biggest problem I have with tanks coming back and people complaining they're leaking is where they've over tightened it and they've actually broke the seal. And once you break the seal, it's going to leak. You know, at the end of the day, there's nothing you can do about that. Some manufacturers provide replacement O-rings. Some don't. The ones that don't, once the seal's broken, you may as well throw the tank away because it's just going to leak. You've put your coil in. You've soaked your cotton, if that's your preferred method. And then what you're now going to do is you're just going to drip your liquid into the tank, down the side of the tank here, to your preferred fill. I certainly don't recommend that you fill it absolutely right to the top unless you absolutely have to. But certainly 3/4 way is certainly going to give you enough liquid. For most users, that should last a day. 3/4 full. A very heavy user on high wattage that's producing a lot of clouds is going to go through a lot more liquid, and then you're going to have to refill if you're going to do that. And that's it basically. All you then do is, once you've put your liquid in, you simply screw the top back on, and again, we're not going to over tighten that, just until it's nice and snug there. That's it. That's enough there, nice and snug. And on the top you've got the drip tip, and that's basically the bit that's going to go in your mouth, and the exhaust gases or the vapor you're going to inhale through that. And that's it basically. That is a tank. And as I say, you know, even though this is a good mid-range tank, they all work in exactly the same principle, in exactly the same way. Some are bottom filling, some are top filling. I've even seen one lately which is side filling, in terms of putting your e-liquid in. And they all have all the makes and different models have different shapes and sizes of coils. But in essence, all tanks, clearomizers, vaporizers, glassomizers, all work exactly the same way. So I hope that was useful, and I look forward to hearing any of your comments. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me through this page, or through the website www.cloudvapinguk.co.uk. Thank you very much, and I'll talk to you next time.